Hi, I'm Raylene from Gratitude Personal Health Coaching. Today we're going to look at soaking and sprouting buckwheat. Buckwheat's fantastic. You can use it for lots of things like making pancakes, muesli, and a great porridge as well. So to get started, I've actually already soaked this overnight, but just to explain to you what I've done is I put my buckwheat in a colander and I rinsed it really well under the tap and then filled it up with the water and sits there overnight. The reason we're soaking the buckwheat and sprouting it is to remove the phytic acid, and phytic acid is a mineral inhibitor, so it stops you absorbing the nutrients out of your food. So we can also increase the nutrient value of the buckwheat by sprouting it. So once that's sat there overnight, we would drain that off and rinse it really well again, because buckwheat tends to go a little bit slimy. And that's just the phytic acid. You need to rinse buckwheat really well. So once I've drained that off and rinsed it, I tip that into my special seed sprouter. I don't have a seed sprouter, so what I use is this really great coffee plunger. There's lots of ways you can do this. You can also just use a jar with a piece of cheesecloth over the top. But what we do is we put our buckwheat in whatever you're using to sprout it in and wet the buckwheat, alright, and then we drain it off. So the plunge is good, so I can just use that for draining. And then I would sit the buckwheat in the sink like that just to drain, and I'd let that sit for quite a while until all the water's drained out. And then you need to do that twice a day. You want to keep the buckwheat or whatever seeds or grain that you're sprouting, you want to keep it moist but not wet. So after a while I would just make sure that that's not draining anymore, and then I'd let that sit on the bench for a couple of days, and by the time you've finished, after about 2 days, you have very cute little sprouts. So they have a little tail on them. These have actually been sprouting for about 3 days. Usually I only need to do it 2. Just be careful that you don't let them get any mould on them. If they grow any fuzz, you need to throw them out and start again. So from there, that's when we can do really great stuff with it, and we're going to do some more recipes later. I also just want to explain to you that you also should be soaking any nuts or large seeds as well, such as pumpkin seeds. These have been soaking overnight as well, and I'm going to use them in a muesli later on. You can also sprout them. I've not had any luck sprouting pumpkin seeds. They need to be raw. The buckwheat, anything you're going to sprout needs to be raw, not processed. Make sure it's very good quality and organic. Nuts also important. A lot of people don't realise you need to be sprouting your nuts and dehydrating them before you eat them, or before you prepare your food with them. They don't always have to be sprouted, but they do need to be soaked. So that's our process for soaking and sprouting buckwheat and soaking pumpkin seeds. To dehydrate them, you can use an oven on a very low temperature, the lowest temperature, and let them dry out in the oven. I do have a dehydrator, which is really great, and I use it all the time. So next time I'm going to look at what we can do with the pumpkin seeds and the almonds and the buckwheat. So see you next time. Right, this is another way that you can sprout your seeds or your grains. Very easy. You can buy nut bags, but all I do is I use a piece of cheesecloth, square of cheesecloth, and I put my buckwheat in the middle after soaking it overnight in filtered water and rinsing it off. I've put my buckwheat in there, tie it on up, and because I've already rinsed it, I would normally just hang it up there like that. Okay, hang it up somewhere with a bowl underneath to let it drain. And then twice a day you need to wet it again, so you can just run water through the little hole, get it wet again, and then hang it up to drain. So really, really simple. And that's what you can do if you don't have a sprouter or a coffee plunger or a jar with some cheesecloth over the top. Really easy.